Welcome to Envisioned Broadcasting, the station designed to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success. Presents Women Emerge with Mellisa Lambert, a show that shines a light on spiritual growth, health, purpose, and financial education. It's time to emerge and begin to live out your dreams, walk into your destiny, while making a difference in the lives of many.
Welcome to Women Emerge with Mellisa Lambert. I am your host, and it's always an honor and a privilege to come before you another Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I am excited about today's show because we have he's not really a guest anymore because he's been coming on for almost a year now. And talking about, helping us understand the truth about money and really educating us and keeping us informed and keeping us in the know when it comes to taking control of the money we work so hard for by really having a structured concept that we call infinite banking concept that can help us become our own banker. So today, we have the amazing, my mentor, Mr. Tony Chamblee. I ain't going to call him Mr., but I'm going to introduce him as Mr. Tony Chamblee. But Tony is just truly been amazing, a great inspiration, a great mentor for me on this journey. And I wanted him to come on and talk about something that we need to be very clear about. Really something that we hear about, the two things, savings and investing. So we're going to talk about what's the difference, not really the difference, but versus. So savings versus investing. So please welcome my mentor, my friend, my partner, Tony Chamblee to the show. Welcome, sir, to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me again, Mellisa. I really appreciate you getting me back on here. It has been a minute since I've been on, though, and I'm really excited about our topic and what we're going to discuss today. It's always a good thing to talk about finances and, bring some light to it. We know that we've been all indoctrinated on, when it comes to money, so I'm excited about that. Before we even get into it, Mellisa, I must congratulate you. It's the first time I'm able to do it in this fashion. Congratulations on you actually going through the Nelson Nash School and becoming a graduate, and now you are certified as an IBC practitioner. Thank you for definitely taking on that task and taking on that challenge and taking on that responsibility. You are around the 316th certified IBC practitioner. That's a graduate of the Nelson Nash Institution, and that is huge for an entire country that we live in, that you're one of the 316 of us. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Wow. I am so thankful. I mean, if it wasn't for you and LaToya Chamblee, I know that this wouldn't be possible. Yes, I put the work in. Yes, I did the studying. But if it wasn't for your mentorship, if it wasn't for you giving me the guidance and the understanding, and also giving me the go ahead and referring me to our school, referring me to David, and to let them know at the Nelson Nash Institute that I'm ready. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have the opportunity to even say I am a practitioner at the Nelson Nash Institute. So I say thank you. Thank you for just your commitment to serve our community, serve our culture, serve core financial partners on purpose, and really helping me see the brighter future of how I can be better for myself, my daughter, my family, and also for those who I serve on purpose. So thank you. And I am excited about taking on this next role in my life to share more about the infinite banking concept now that I'm fully a practitioner of the Nelson Nash. So thank you, sir, for everything that you do.
Oh, yeah, no problem at all. It's the gift that keeps giving. I mean, someone gave me the gift of the infinite banking concept and allowed me to learn from them and and continue to sharpen my axe. And we just, we paying it forward, and that's what you're doing. And I know you're going to help out the next person and continue to help out your clients and potential clients. So thank you for being a part of the community.
Yes, yes, yes. And now that we are officially here, there is so much work that we need to do. And it starts with knowledge. The people perish because of the lack thereof. And I'm so glad that you have such great knowledge that you are able to share. And one of the knowledge we want to talk about today is savings versus investing. So what is the main difference when we think about savings and investing? What is the main difference between saving and investing in terms of risk and return?
Sure. And it's real simple. Savings, you have no subject to loss on your dollars, and you can depend on your money to be there anytime you need it. That's what savings is, right? That's the kind of wrap it up in a real quick phrase. It has no subject to loss, only gains. And when it comes to investing, you're subject to gains and losses, right? I like to call it, when it comes to investing, you have volatility, you have speculation, and you have vulnerability, because you have no real control over what could happen to your money. So you're wishing and hoping versus knowing, and that's the biggest difference. Savings, it's going to be there. It only can have subject to gains, even though it's a low return. And when it comes to investing, you have subject to loss and gains, and they both could be small, or they both could be large. So that's the biggest difference.
Wow. And before we even jump into our next question, I really want people to kind of understand your background, because you're talking money here, and people are like, who is this person? Like, what is his credential? What is his, expertise? Can you just give us a little bit of your background about how you started in the financial arena?
Sure. My background is entrepreneurship since year 2000. I've been full-time ever since. And I went full-time right about 1999 to 2000. And after a few years being full-time into the industry, I really surplus my income potential, right, 5 to 6 times. But this is what I realized, Mellisa, is that in that pursuit, I had a lot of subject to losses as well, because I didn't know. When I mean losses, meaning where I was putting my money, and where I was putting my money and where I didn't understand money. As fast as I was making it, come to find out I was losing it as well. So I started studying financials, the financial industry, economics, how money works, and how wealthy people behave, things of that nature, what are their traditional practices. And I did that study for about 2 years, from 2007 to 2009, and I realized this is real practical information. It's learnable, teachable information. Why isn't this being shared with those that are serious about their financial future? And that led me to get into the industry and spend some time in the industry, kind of learn the good, bad, and ugly, and really figure out what God had for me to do. And that's to be in this industry as a financial educator, and to be able to, be a consultant, whereas though I don't just tell people what to do with their money, Mellisa. I teach people what to do with their money. I teach them how to navigate through what it is that we've been indoctrinated into. You ever heard the old saying that you feed a man a fish, he eats for a day? You teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime? That's how I look at financials now. So that's where we are. That's why we're here. We're here to be teachers. We're here to really bring out the truth about money and navigate through all the false pretense that is out there about money. We're here to put the real light on it. And I believe it's making a big difference in a lot of people's lives.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I am so thankful because of your experience, you also decided to start your own company. Tell us a little bit about Core Financial Partners.
Yeah, once we went through all the education information, and we really believe that it was in our heart to go from a passion about it to a purpose through it, we decided to start our financial service firm, Core Financial Partners, that's predicated on financial education. We believe your goals is our crusade. We believe there's an infinite world of possibilities out there that when you're in the know, you know what to do. And that's what we're all about. You'll find that we have a 4S mission, and that's taking people from survival to security to success and then significance. That's our 4S mission. And then we have a philosophy behind Core that more money doesn't get or keep you out of a financial situation. Only financial education does. You think about people having multitude of jobs, and they believe they're working their way out of a financial situation, and it's not true. If you are not getting financially smarter and you're not raising your financial IQ, it shows over and over again the proof that you're really just kicking a can down the road. And then last but not least, we have a vision. Our vision at Core is to bring education and to bring education and also to help people to prosper through the education and awareness that we bring. So that's our vision, to bring education and awareness that bring prosperity. And we believe we're on our way to something that is going to really make a difference to so many individuals and so many entrepreneurs across the country.
Yes, I agree because I'm one of them. I'm one that has joined the crusade, and I truly believe that, like you said, our goal is our crusade. Your goal is our crusade, and I'm glad that we're on the mission to establish this process. And I love how you said you went from passion to purpose. Yep. And that truly means a lot because, again, you find so many people just working their purpose away rather than living on purpose. And to see that you created a firm on purpose to now fulfill not just your purpose, but to really fulfill to assist humanity, that to me is truly amazing. So thank you for your service, for serving us, and to really giving us the knowledge that we need to know so we can, you said something, when you know what's going on, when you know what's going on, you know what to do.
That's right.
And I like that, when you know what's going on, and that's why I believe when you come on these shows, you are giving us the know information. So now that you know this information, what will you do about it? What will you do? So thank you again. You're tuned into Women Emerge with Mellisa Lambert. We have the honor to have CEO and founder and visionary of Core Financial Partners, Tony Chamblee, and we're talking savings versus investments. So we want to ask you the next question I want to talk to you about, Tony, is why? Why might someone choose to save rather than invest, even if the return are lower?
Yeah, because I look at, if you're not skillful in the area of being an investor, if you haven't studied how to be an investor, if you haven't done your due diligence, to me, it's modern day gambling. To put money in a position that is a lot of volatility, speculation, and it makes you vulnerable, then you're playing Russian roulette with your own financial future. So if you think about it, I believe there's a vast majority of people, Mellisa, that are joining different investment accounts that are called retirement accounts. And they believe that they are actually saving money when they're not. Most retirement accounts are inside of a mutual fund. And so that's where I believe the indoctrination is happening, because we're taught to do what everybody else is doing and not really evaluating, am I that much of a risk taker to have my hard-earned dollars sitting somewhere that has a lot of volatility and speculation behind it. And most people, when they really evaluate it and they become more aware of it, they know they're not. They know they're not wired. They're not built that way. And so that's what we're here to do. We're here to bring the light, because savings is almost knowing that your money is going to grow. It's knowing that you're moving forward, right? Even though it's slower, at least you know you're moving forward. So that's the main purpose of saving versus investing. You want to be sure that it's going to be there when you need it, especially if you're building it for major capital purchases in the future, or such as financial independence, what we call retirement.
Yes, 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 yes. I love it. I love it. How does inflation, knowing what's going on right now in the market, in our economy in itself, how does inflation affect your savings over time?
Really, really good question. Inflation definitely affects inflation affects your savings over time based off of the average rate of inflation, where it's at today, where it's been at, the history of it. It's been, the median of inflation rate is about 3% a year. And up until recently, most people wasn't getting 3% on their returns on their money in a traditional savings account. So at the effort of being safe and secure with your future dollars, you were actually losing ground, because the purchasing dollar through inflation is losing what it can buy you tomorrow versus today. I'll go back. This is the way I give that analogy. When I was growing up, right, I can go to the corner store and purchase possibly 3 to 4 candy bars with $1. You're lucky to get a candy bar at the dollar store for $1 for just one today. So it's not so much of that the candy bars are costing more. It's the dollar that's worth less. And so inflation does that. So we do have to account for that. It's going to take more dollars in the future than it's going to take now to have the same thing. And that's a whole talk by itself about inflation. But that's what it is a concern for somebody that is thinking about saving versus investing, because the slow growth you get is concerning. And that's where someone that's like us, Mellisa, as a consultant, we can navigate through that by allocations, by strategy, by processing, and not just putting your money somewhere and forgetting about it.
I love that. I mean, the greatest thing about what we do is that we take a full look at our clients. We don't just guess where they are. We look through everything and then put together the right tool, give them the right tool so they can actually use this tool for not just for themselves, but for legacy, for where they can build it from themselves to their children, to their grands. It's a continuation of growth when we look at the fullness of a family or individual. So what is your suggestion? What is your suggested type of investment vehicle that typically offers higher returns than a savings account? I know we're talking savings versus investment, but I would love to hear what you suggest. What will be that type of investment vehicle that typically offers a higher return than a savings account?
Sure. I'm going to say it like this, Mellisa. It's a untalked about or non-talked about savings vehicle, not an investment vehicle. It's just the reason why a lot of people look at it as an investment category, because of the nice high returns you can receive out of it if it's done properly. And believe it or not, it's dividend paying whole life insurance contract, right? It's actually a dividend paying or participating dividend paying whole life contract from a mutual insurance company. And all those things matter. right? I know a lot of us are listening, and we're in insurance contracts. We have insurance policies, right? But we're not talking about the traditional policy. You can even have a whole life policy. You can have a whole life policy through a mutual insurance company. But what makes it works is the design of it. It is built and solved and created and set up for banking purposes, and it just happens to have death benefit hope inside of the contract. And so the reason why this is the vehicle that is not being shared and talked about in the public at all is because most of the powers to be want you to put money on Wall Street, right? Wall Street has its own way of manipulating the average person. And so, because when you really look at it, the banks of the world are using exactly what we're talking about, a participating dividend-paying whole life policy. Fortune 1000 companies are utilizing it. It's called Bowley and Coley. Why are they not teaching us this? Why are they not putting us in a 401k or 403b, right? Why aren't they telling us about this? And that is I still haven't figured that one out, other than greed, right? Manipulation, indoctrination. Yep. So here's a product, or I don't even call it a product, a process, because this is not a product that we're talking about. It's a process. It has to be engineered properly. It has to be calibrated properly. And I'm talking the software of the whole life contract. So it makes it almost like you're the chief engineer of your own bank. And it allows you to save money in it. And we're talking like you can probably average between the dividends and the interest, give or take about 8%. It can be a lot more than that, Mellisa, because being the bank, which is an adjective, is something you do, not what you. It's not a thing. It's an action. Because it is an action. The way you bank on the back end of saving your money and using it, you can get double-digit returns out of it. But a lot of people they're not taught this at all. And we're not into this today. We're not having this discussion today to go into all the engineering of it. Just know that is, to me, after all this research, studying, and reading about the financial industry we live in and economics, it's the best vehicle available. That's safe. Because remember, we're talking about savings versus investing. This is saving because you're guaranteed everything we're talking about as a savings account does. But you're getting a higher return. You're getting more out of it than you're putting in it. It's all. Here's the one thing I always say, and I'm going to end on this note when it comes to this. When you move your money into one of these, or you're growing your money into one of these, it's like you're giving every dollar multiple jobs, right? In life, we shouldn't work more than one job, right? That's called like really putting it in and probably overworking yourself. But here, the dollars can work harder for you than you work for harder for the dollar. So you want your dollar to have multiple jobs. It has at least 5, 6, 7 jobs. When it's sitting in a regular account, a regular savings account or an investment account, it has one job. Hopefully it grows. Here, it does a lot more than that. And that's where I know you and I have done podcasts and talks and discussions on the different benefits, but to me, it's hidden right under most people's noses and eyes because they're not looking at a life insurance contract as a bank, but it actually is set up just like a bank. If you give me the president of a mutual insurance company job description versus a president of a large bank, a conglomerate, do you know their job description would be exactly the same? You wouldn't even know the difference.
Wow.
And that's where we can set ourselves up and save and know that we're going to not have risk on our dollars and get very respectable returns on it, and then do a whole lot more with it as well. So that's a long answer, but just know dividend participating whole life insurance from mutual insurance company is where we should all be playing at, and we should be taking our lifestyle right through that.
Yeah. And I love how you said, the banks are doing it. The corporates are doing it. Bowley and Coley, why aren't they teaching us to do it? And you also said banking is an action.
That's right.
It's, when you think about banking, it's not a building, it's a concept, right? And that's what they have taught us is go to the building.
Right.
And not gave us the understanding of how to utilize the concept of banking and banking for yourself. So I'm so glad that we exist to share this information to the public, because it's time to wake up. It's time to get into the know, because like you said, when we know better, we can do better. Right? And then when the information is presented to you, not only just listen, read. You and I, we've been reading so many different books, and the Becoming Your Own Banker from Nelson Nash, and all the other great books that you have referred me to read to give me my understanding of what we're doing and how we can, grow from it, but also teach others through it as well. So thank you, for sharing what will be the best way for us what vehicle will be the best way for the higher return than a savings account. So when is it, Tony, the better to save money versus invest it? Can you give us some example of what that will look like?
Yeah, it's better to save money and allow time value of money to work for you. So it's better to save money as soon and as early in your life as possible, right? I believe what's happening, Mellisa, most people are waiting later to do it. I get to it, and now they're willing to take a higher risk to get a better return faster, to have the best outcome later. So the best time to save is early part of your life, as soon as possible. No matter how old you are, today is the day, right? Not tomorrow. Do it today. Start saving. If you don't have a lot of resources, hey, just start with what you have. Right, it's a spiritual thing when you're showing discipline, how it rewards you for it. It's so funny. Look, just earlier today was doing my devotions and was on Matthew 25 that talks about the 3 talents. Right.
Wow.
And I pointed this out. I pointed this out to LaToya. I said, look, because we always say, okay, what did you get out of that? I said it stood out that, if I remember the word, it was according to someone's behavior, according to their experience with money, is who got the 5 talents versus the 2 versus the 1. It was according to who they were already with money or already with time. Because 3 things I look at when it comes to this kind of thing, Mellisa, and hopefully I won't get off on the tangent on this. I look at time. You're good. I look at time, relationship, and money. That's where we are charged for stewardship over time, relationship, and money. And to me, the talent speaks to me in all 3. It speaks to me in all 3. So you're blessed according to your relationship already with money. So we're saving money and we're allowing it to grow. And here's the deal. I think it's better off to be disciplined and doing it on a regular basis than someone just having a bad turn on the market when the market goes down. You're better off just being disciplined over time. So the best time is early as possible, and there's no earlier than today. That's what my answer is.
Yeah, now. And I like the word you said, something, discipline. Many of us don't have it, Tony. Many of us don't have it. And that's where we have to, that stewardship over your time, that stewardship over your relationship, that stewardship over money. Those, if we can just practice those 3, making sure you value your time, you honor the relationship, and honor the money that you use, and you're gaining, and having that discipline to say, you know what, I'm going to put aside this. I'm going to use this amount every single month to grow my bank, or I'm going to dump this amount in, within the next year to grow my bank. Discipline. So that, again, is something that we all, not saying that, we're going to be perfect at it all, but we all need to work towards it. So, again, you are tuned into Women Emerge with Mellisa Lambert. It's always an honor and a pleasure to have my mentor, my friend, my partner, Tony Chamblee, who has been truly a blessing, and has been able to share this knowledge that we are getting on today. We're learning about savings versus investing. And I know for a fact, many of us, we hear the word saving, we hear the word investing, but we don't know the difference. And that is what Tony is doing. We're breaking it down today. So we talked about when it is better to save, which is the now. What is ready cash? People hear about the ready cash, and why should it be saved rather than invested?
You know what? I'm going to answer that, Mellisa, but I didn't give the second half to the other answer. When is it the time to invest? If you're under the sound of our voices today and you are itching and you are an investor or you want to be an investor, we're not saying don't do it, right? This is how you want to go about it. It's the strategy behind it. It's the process behind it. So let me answer that question. When is it best to save and when is it best to invest? Investing should come after you have saved what you necessarily have to have, right? When you're taking care of your necessities, you have your emergency fund in place. You're building upon your financial independence, which we call retirement. All those things are aside. And now you're trying to, do something extra, right? And then here's the way you do it. You should put the money, set up your own infinite banking setup system through whole life, participating on whole life through a mutual insurance company. Put the money in there, save there. But to be an investor is to put money there and borrow against your money and not invest your money. The insurance company is willing and able and available to allow you to use that money to go and invest now. Too many of us, Mellisa, are taking our hard-earned dollars and putting it right in the market. We're putting it right into real estate. We're putting it right into these different funds, mutual funds and things of that nature, and it's 100% at risk. When the insurance company says, look, you warehouse your money here, right? We don't ask any questions when you borrow against your money, because you can borrow up to 90% that you saved in there and built it up to, and then you go become the investor. You start investing. To me, one of our rules that we were taught early on in this process of growing into this is to never invest your money when somebody else is willing to give you theirs. And that's rule number one. Never invest your own money. How about putting money into one of these concepts? I mean, these policies, borrowing from it, not from it, against it, and then put it on the market. What's the difference? It's the money's still yours. That's going to grow and profit. Then you pay them back with the profits. That's called arbitrage. That's using somebody else's money in an investment, allowing to profit for you, and you pay your lender back with the profits of the money that you grew from that person's money, not your own money. That's the game. I'm giving this out for free. You're not even a client, probably under the sound of my voice. This is that's the process. So when should somebody invest? To answer that question, Mellisa, is after they've set up their own banking system. That's when they should do it.
Wow.
All right, let's get over to the other question. Can you repeat that other question again? I'm sorry.
Yes. I mean, and I love when you get so passionate about this, because that shows that you care. And that's one thing that we want people to understand here at Core Financial Partners. We care. We care for your today, and we care for your tomorrow. And that is the reason why Tony is so passionate in making sure you understand Why use your money while there's somebody who's willing to lend you theirs, while yours is sitting, growing, and compounding interest? So I'm thankful for the passion that you bring, because they have to understand that we care enough to make sure we share, but also give you the knowledge, the doing of, to be able to fulfill what we want you to see, which is having financial freedom, control, and legacy.
That's right.
So, the question that I wanted to ask of you was, what is ready cash, and
Sure.
why should it be saved rather than invested?
Yes, that's a really good one. Ready cash has three layers to it. The first is ready life expected events. Life expected event is just things we're going to do probably on an annual basis, sometimes semi-annual. Let me get an idea what that is. Life expected is you're going to go on vacation every year. Maybe you do big holidays like we do. We do Christmas big, right? That we know that expense is coming up. We know maybe during the years of your kids in college, right? Maybe it's your anniversary that you put a lot into. Birthdays, right? These are sort of the life expected events that you should save for, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second layer to it would be emergencies. I believe
Mm-hmm.
every single household should have 6 months of savings, 6 months of their income saved, right? The very minimum in the first benchmark you should reach is 10 grand, and then work your way to 3 months and then 6 months. Get to 6 months and don't stop there. Then go to the 9 months and 12 months. You should have a warehouse of reserve somewhere that you're building upon, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
the third layer would be opportunities. You ever heard opportunities are not missed, they passed up? That
Mm-hmm.
same pool of money, that ready cash, right, taking care of life expectant events, being built up to 6 months or more, is the same money that when opportunity knocks, you're ready. You answer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
door is cracked and you kick it open, because you can now turn your dollars into a multitude of dollars. You can compound. You can call what we call exponentially have it grow,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because why? You're being a great stewardess, right? And
Mm-hmm.
now you have the ability to take a property that you're getting it for a dime, it is worth $1. You're taking
Mm-hmm.
and maybe you're able to invest into a business and get a great return on it. You maybe can buy a business and get a great return on it. You have a
Mm-hmm.
tip on a stock that you know is going to happen. You see, we're not saying don't invest, but it's a process. It's a strategy behind it, and I believe that's what's been missing for the average American. They're not being encouraged or being enlightened. The education and awareness is not given to them, and that's what we do here
Mm-mm.
at Core. And I'm so excited, Mellisa, that we're not just talking about this, we're living this, right? This is
Yeah, yeah.
maturating. This is happening. This is maturing right before our eyes. And it starts with the
Mm-hmm.
awareness first. And then and then it follows with the education. And then we go do it. And now we can
Yes.
now teach it. And now we feel like we're amongst so many others that are doing this and living this, that it just makes the world better. It makes everybody better. So that's what it
Yes.
is. That's the
I
ready cash.
agree.
It's the ready cash. I mean, it's the life expected events, emergencies, and opportunities, which I believe is the most important one. Be ready. Opportunity knocks at your door when you have ready
Mm-hmm.
cash. It knocks at your door.
Mm-hmm.
Money beget money. Money
Mm-hmm.
begets money.
That
Even at
part.
times you don't even have to, like for instance, and I'm going to end on this note. When we have money stacked up, do you know the powers that be? I like to call the powers that be. It could be the banks or the insurance
Mm-hmm.
company. They give you their money.
Mm-hmm. You, Tony? Yeah,
I'm
I
sorry.
think we've
I hit my face. I got
here
excited.
we
I hit
go.
my face. I hit the mute button. My face is mute. But yeah, the banks give people money with money. Insurance companies give people money with money. That's why you can lend or borrow against your account, right? But if you have no money in there, they're not lending you no money.
True.
So all those three matters are being saved. All those three layers are being saved in the right place. And now you can borrow against your money, leverage your money, and let us continue to grow. I think most people, Mellisa, have forgotten the power of compound interest, right?
They have.
I take compound interest uninterrupted over any great investment any day. I would take it any day. Because with uninterrupting compounding interest means I can borrow against it and get into that investment. That's a great investment without using my money. So what I call, and with this, Mellisa, on this part, it's called double dipping. Double dipping. My money, your money, my money in this account, in this properly structured insurance product, whole life, dividend paying, and mutual insurance company, it's still growing at the rate of average 8%, let's say, with the dividends and the interest, and you're still using somebody else's money, and you're getting even greater returns on the market or wherever investment.
The market.
And now you double dipping. You're making money in both places. I stop there.
Wow.
I rest my case.
I mean, again, who don't want to double dip, right? Who don't want to double dip? So we're teaching this information, but you said something greater. We're living this as well, and it's time. It's time now that the mask is off. Now that the truth is out. Why are we not doing this? Why aren't we running to this information to figure out what to do, when to do it? I believe that this is such a deep concept that everyone needs to know about it. Everyone needs to know about it. But this is not for anyone. It's really not for anyone. Your wife said that. LaToya Chamblee said that. This is for everyone to know. But it's really not for anyone because not everyone wants to understand that this is not, we're not trying to tell you to pay a bill. This is not a bill. It's an asset.
That's right.
It's an asset that you're going to build through this process. And this is not something that you just hold for yourself. You better make sure you tell your mama, your daddy, your sister, your everybody, because you want to make sure everybody that you like, love, and trust have the same access that you have to grow and to be able to build and to leave legacy. So as we continue this conversation and we're talking about savings versus investing, and Tony, you've been really doing a great job with answering these questions. So what are some common misconceptions people have about investing compared to saving?
Yeah, we kind of touched on it a little bit. The number one misconception is about building your retirement through like a 401k or 403b or something like that, an RA, that it's not a savings, it's an investment. Because anything that you put money in that has the possibility of loss is an investment, right? And I believe when people automatically opt in and they're building their retirement up, that it's subject to the volatility and speculation of the market, of Wall Street, a mutual fund. It's inside of a mutual fund. I believe you would have to have a skill set that you know how to diversify and allocate inside that mutual fund. But to think about it, a mutual fund, somebody else is doing that. You're not doing that. But you can maybe decide on some sort of qualified plan, which is a 401k or 403b, to move it around a little bit. And I believe you should be aware and have at least the cocktail party smart understanding of it to do it. If you're not, if I were you, I would be very careful on having money in a position like that, and you do not know what tomorrow's going to bring, right? You cannot go along with you seeing everybody else do. You cannot afford that. That is your money. That is your future. that is your wealth. And we have to be careful when it comes to that. So I believe the misconception is that they're putting money in saving for retirement, and that's not true. Here's another one. A lot of people participate, even we do, in the HSA plan. That's your health savings account plan, right? It's called HSA, where you're putting money in here inside of an account that is done without paying taxes on it, and then it's considered a savings plan for any health purpose or needs that you can pay for it. But guess what, Mellisa? It's called Health Savings Account, HSA, but how about some of them, most of them, gives you the chance to allocate it into different accounts, and normally half or more of those accounts are mutual funds. So yet it's called a health savings account. However, if you're under the sound of my voice, you want to go check to make sure it is an account that doesn't have the subject or have the ability to lose money, that it only can go up. That's the only way it could be called a savings account, but it's called a savings account. And some of them actually are inside of a mutual fund. So it has the subject to being able to lose money, the volatility, speculation. It could be inside of what they're trying to get done for any potential future health situations that could come about. So I find that very interesting that most people are not aware of that, and that they're putting their health savings money inside of an investment account that has the volatility, speculation of the market. So those are the two things that I think of, is that we have to understand that if something is for retirement, it should be just about guaranteed that it's going to be there, because who wants to roll the dice within 10 years of retirement or in retirement, money being in a speculation position or a volatility position? Who would want that when you have the power of compound interest that can guarantee you the results at the end? And with proper strategy and process behind it, right, you can still come close to what you like to see it to be at the end of the day, right? That's where you have to have the right people on your team to make sure that we look at what is the future value of our dollar, look at the future inflation that's going to affect the purchasing power of our dollar. We have to look at the tax implications that are going to take place, your tax liability through all of this. All this matters. All this has to be in the equation of saving or investing. And I believe the misconception is that we're doing it blindly. We're not paying attention, right? Too much is going over us and past us about how to prepare properly. So all this, to me, is just proper planning, because you can use both. This is what I want to make sure we're clear about, Mellisa. You can use savings, you can use investing. You can do both, right? It's not an either or. It's the strategy. What is your strategy? What is your plan? How do you overcome the taxes? How do you overcome the volatility? How do you get through that? How do you overcome and defeat inflation?
Yes.
And I believe what we've done, the work we're doing or have done and going to do, have the solutions. We have the answers.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we do have the answers, and I thank God that we are now openly sharing these podcasts and these our Wednesdays and soon Thursdays with our ladies, because I mean Latoya really brought it in on Thursday, and I was just like, we got to do this again. And you will hear from his lovely wife, Latoya Chamblee. She will be on next Thursday, so please stay tuned. Her story is phenomenal. It's going to blow you away. And I love how you mentioned risk versus compound interest. That's what's happening. We have to understand what's going on, that you can put your money out there for risk for retirement, or you can compound your money for retirement. Which one would you prefer? risk it or compound it. I love how you mentioned the future value, the future inflation that we need to think about, the tax liability that we need to think about, because guess what? We're watching this television while they're telling us their vision. We're watching this TV. We're watching everything on TV. They're not giving us something that we need. They're telling us their vision and having us being indoctrinated to information that they know is not good for us, but is good for them. Wake up, America. Wake up.
Yes.
So as we close this in, Tony, I know we only have about 2 more minutes in. I want to ask you this final question. How can someone balance saving and investing when creating a personal financial plan?
Yeah, get the proper strategy in place, right? Get the proper strategy in place and leverage both. Leverage both. And I believe you don't want to leave it up to just somebody moving your money for you. That's why I'm not a fan of mutual funds. They have people that are doing all that for you, and no one knows your situation better than you. So join your rescue and getting your financial plan in place and customizing it for you. Don't do what everybody else is doing. Yours is different. You have a different money personality than your fellow sisters and brothers, right? You have a different relationship with money. And it's all according to where you are now. And I believe it's like, consider this, and I'm going to be done. Consider having your financial caddy. In golf, everybody has a caddy, right? Somebody has to stand behind you, in front of you, inside of you, and tell you what your swing look like. That's a caddy, right? They coaching you the whole way. I believe we all need financial caddies. You might can't identify like a Mellisa Lambert can. You might can't identify like a Tony Chamblee can't, or any other core consultant that's with our firm, or any firm that is fundamentally sound on IBC. And you should go through the infinitebanking.org site to locate or identify one. But get with us. Get with the person that invited you on to listen to this, and they can point you in the right direction and support you and help you and be that reference to you.
Wow. I'm excited and I'm thankful again. And before you leave off the show, I want you to share with us. I know we have a couple of our own links that people can go ahead and get some information, like our Learn More with Core. If you can share all our 4 links, I will also have that within the description.
Yep. The first one to go to and really get a good snapshot of how this all works, we did some short videos that you can sit down and really learn from. It's called LearnMoreWithCore.com. LearnMoreWithCore.com. The video is only 2 to 4 minutes apiece. We got about a dozen or so in there that really would share with you the insight on how this really works. And then if you have debt and you're under the sound of my voice, maybe you have good debt and you still want to get rid of it the proper way, the most efficient way, or maybe you have good debt and bad debt. Either way, mortgages, card notes, student loans, anything, right? Anything that you're paying with interest, you want to go and watch this video. It's CoreDebtStrategy.com, CoreDebtStrategy.com, and get blessed with that information and follow up with the person that you're already connected to or could be connected to that would be able to get you set up with your debt strategy. Also, if you're a reader, and I believe you should start reading the content on this subject, go to CoreReads.com, CoreReads with the S.com, and there's a list of books there that would definitely teach you these different subjects about the infinite banking concept of becoming your own banker. And these books tell you about the difference between savings and investing in pretty much every subject that we discuss on this channel. So go there, get your book for yourself, put it in your library, and allow it to bless you like it has blessed us. Am I forgetting any other links, Mellisa?
No, you did learnmorewithcore.com, coredebtstrategy.com, corereads.com, and corefinancialpartners.com is our main.
Yep, Core Financial Partners.
So thank you, Tony. This was amazing, and I can't wait to have you back again. I know we're going to have your lovely wife, Latoya Chamblee, come on and share her story and how, infinite banking has truly transformed her life after looking at all the losses, financial loss that she basically, you guys threw out. And now when she were able to see this concept and use this concept, and she said, oh my gosh, if I had known this information years ago, this is where my money would have grown to. And I know she's coming on to share her story with us for next week. So I can't wait for you to come back next month and really dive more into other conversation, because the more people hear this information, the better. So thank you for always being so dedicated to come and share your story, but also lead us to understand the truth about money. Thank you, sir.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for having me again.
You're absolutely welcome. Again, we are so excited to have Tony Chamblee, who is the visionary, the founder of Core Financial Partners. He is a licensed practitioner of the Nelson Nash Institute. He also holds a licensed he's also a licensed financial consultant. He is my mentor, my business partner, and he is truly a man that I can say I trust him with my life, because I know that he has my best interest. And I truly believe we here at Core Financial Partners, we're going to help you and serve you truly on purpose. So please tune in. Don't forget to go to learnmorewithcore.com to get some more information. If as Tony mentioned, if you're in debt, go to coredebtstrategy.com. Read. It's time for us to not take information, but also understand information by reading it. Go to corereads.com and to find out how you can book a consultation with Tony or the corepreneur that sends you here. Get back with them to get the information. But if you don't know a corepreneur, you can go to corefinancialpartners.com. You can follow me on Facebook at Mellisa S. Lambert. That's Mellisa S. Lambert. Also, you can go ahead to my website as well. I'm connected to Core Financial Partners. You can go to LambertLegacyFinancial.com. I am excited to be able to serve truly on purpose, and I thank you so much, Tony, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to share this information. Today's conversation, we were talking about what? We're talking about savings versus investing. So glad that you were able to tune in. Please share this with someone you like, love, and trust. They need to know the difference. They need to know the difference, and they also need to know how to make sure they too are doing something right for themselves and right for their family's future, which is really becoming their own bank. So until next time, everyone, take care, take charge, and continue to be great. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Women Emerge with Mellisa Lambert, where Mellisa speaks with leaders, experts, and motivators who share their journeys and their stories through personal and professional growth, knowledgeable tips, and lessons learned that will empower you to grow. Follow Mellisa and Women Emerge Network on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at MELLISASLAMBERT and at Women Emerge Network. And visit www.womenemergenetwork.com. Remember, when you know better, you can do better, especially when God is for you.